and Frank Lampard and what's happening. Wow. You know, a couple of weeks ago, even though I knew things were bad at Everton, I didn't actually believe that they were going to go down. I do now. I think they're going to go down. I can't see where their next win's going to come from. They've got Man United at home at the weekend. They've got Leicester at home on the Wednesday. They've got Liverpool the following weekend at Liverpool. They've got Chelsea. They've got Leicester a couple of times. Watford, I mean, what a massive game that's going to be. Then they've got Brentford. Wouldn't fancy them to beat Brentford. Then they've got Palace. Wouldn't fancy them to beat Palace. And then they've got Arsenal. Don't know where the win's coming from. Don't know where the points are coming from.
It's going to be so difficult for them. But I think this weekend at football will tell us a lot because they go to Manchester United early, the early kick-off, 12:30. Mm-hmm. But then after that, you talk about Watford have got Leeds. Watford could beat Leeds. It's at home, so Watford could win that game. Mm-hmm. And then an absolute massive one, Burnley versus Norwich. If Burnley win that, then they're in the bottom three. So, I mean, I don't know what's been going. As I said before, I said at the top of the show, like, I get it. Frank Lampard's gone in there, hasn't set the world alight. I don't think they look any better under Frank than they did under Rafa Benitez.
I think they look worse, if I'm being honest.
Probably maybe organised, because you want to think about Rafa, you talk about organisation, but of course he was never going to get the full backing of the Everton fans, which I totally understand.
But what he's got is experience, and Frank doesn't have that.
Exactly. But when you look at some of the things that has gone on in the last couple of games, as I said, the Godfrey defending for the winner for Burnley, just clear it. They'd leave there with a point. That poor. The game against West Ham, Michael Keane getting himself sent off doesn't help the cause. Before that, yeah, they somehow beat Newcastle, but again, they nearly shot themselves in the foot. Alan getting himself sent off. Against Everton before the Everton game against Wolves, where they lose 1-0, another player sent off. So these are things that Frank Lampard cannot control. But I don't know what they're going to do, because watching them against Burnley last night, that's a game that they had to win 2-1 up. You've got to go on and win that game, but they didn't. I think too many of their players are playing below par. I'm not quite sure how many of them players are up for the fight. When I look at the Burnley squad in this kind of relegation battle, and I look at the players they've got, the characters, that's one thing I see in the Burnley team, is that, yeah, they might not be technically the most gifted of squads. I think they'd agree with that. But when it comes to fight, passion, determination, I will take Burnley probably over most of the teams at the bottom, to be honest. So I'm with you. I don't know where their next points are coming from, but they're going to have to do it. No one's given them a prayer, as you said there, of beating the likes of Man United, Leicester. I mean, Leicester, you never know. Liverpool, Chelsea. No one's given them a chance of winning any of them games. They've got to have to do something, which is obviously beat one of these teams, get some points to try and pull away from that relegation zone.
I'd like to hear from Everton fans as well about team selection, because I mentioned last time out, actually, when they were playing, I think it was at the weekend, and Donny van der Beek got injured in the warm-up, and they started with Holgate in the middle of the park, even though he had Dele Alli on the bench. Similar scenario last night, started with Holgate. The Dele Alli thing, I think, I'd love to know what's going on behind the scenes there, because Frank has got him to the club. He obviously fancies him as a bit of a player, and I don't know if Dele Alli's not getting on with Lampard or vice versa, but there's obviously a problem. He's played, I think, 2 hours of football since he's been there in 2 months.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
Do you know what? It's not a waste of time. I'm not saying that at all. It's not a waste of time at all. But at the minute, I honestly thought if anyone could get the best out of Dele, as I said, I think we spoke about it a little bit yesterday, I thought it would be Frank Lampard, because he's been that situation, goal-scoring midfielder.
But that's his job, isn't it? To get the best out of his players.
It is, but when in that specific scenario, Dele Alli was a goal-scoring midfielder. Frank Lampard's the greatest goal-scoring midfield player we've ever seen in this country. I thought he'd be able to get him going, get him motivated. But that just hasn't happened. He's getting defenders coming in ahead of him. He's not coming on in games. He's not influencing games. So unless there's something that we've not seen, that is one transfer that just hasn't worked out at all. But you look at some people like Richarlison. I know he scored 2 penalties last night. He's got 6 Premier League goals this season. Like, I've never really been sure on him anyway. I don't think he gives you consistency enough. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's another one. Obviously, I know he's come back from injuries. He's got 3 goals this season. Like, he's played 12 games, got 3 goals. You need more from these players. If Everton survive...
But that you need more, that's down to the manager, right? Now, the reason I say that is I'm not picking on Frank Lampard, but if Frank Lampard would have got them winning games, we would be sitting here and saying, oh my goodness, what a great manager Frank Lampard is. Yeah. And it's the same with any manager. Same with my manager when, United were going through a bad patch. Everyone was having a pop at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He got the sack in the end. Yeah. Right? Same with every single club. When Mikel Arteta started off badly at Arsenal, everyone was saying, a lot of Arsenal fans, football fans were saying, get rid of him.
His was the opposite, because he did get off to a good start.
Arteta didn't?
Yeah, remember, he won.
Oh, no, I'm talking about this season when they lost the first 3.
This season, of course.
Yeah. So, the buck stops with the manager. Yeah. Right? Now, I think that the appointment of Frank Lampard was the wrong manager at the wrong time. I think if Frank Lampard's going to be in charge of a side, I think he maybe should have gone to Scotland. I think, or he should have stayed in the Championship to learn his trade. Yeah. To learn your trade at a club that's fighting for his life is absolutely barking.
Yeah, it's madness. And but fair, what he has done, and he's put good people around him. So he's Paul Clements, really good coach. Ashley Cole, good coach.
Yep.
Well, I'm not there's a good, but obviously experience, knows what he's done. I don't know if he's a good coach yet because he's not been coaching that long. But you're right. At the minute, it just looks like a sinking ship, and you start thinking where the next point's coming from. Something drastic has to change. Either the mentality of the players or what he has to go a bit more defensive. I don't know what he does.
But he hasn't got that experience. So one of the big questions is, right, not just from us, but what football fans are saying on social media, etc., is should they sack Frank Lampard and get Sam Allardyce in? Right now,
Everton fans, 90% of Everton fans will say no.
Okay, but if you ask all those Everton fans that say no, if you ask them if you stay up, is it the right thing to do? They'll all say yes. And who have they got? I'll ask you, who have they got more chance with of staying up, Lampard or Sam Allardyce?
Well, clearly it's obviously Frank Lampard because he's been not Frank Lampard, sorry, Sam Allardyce.
It's important you get that answer right.
Yeah,
you know?
sorry, it's Sam Allardyce because he's been there and done it before. Do you know what I mean? But the way it ended when last time he was at Everton, I get that. And you're right. It's like when Roy Hodgson went to Watford, I went, okay, I understand that. I get that.
I didn't, but okay.
No, but I thought understand that he's a manager that's been proven. He's been experienced, been around a long time. It was a risk. We said that when Frank got the job, it was a risk when he first got that job from his part.
But they weren't this bad when he got.
No, and it was a risk from their part, employing someone who's not got that much experience, and for him to go into that kind of pressure cooker where they're down near the bottom. Tough.
Okay. I'm going to go to Joe, the Everton fan, in 1 second. What would you do? Would you sack him and get Sam in? Or
No,
would you stay with him?
I wouldn't sack him, but I'd give him to the end of the season. But I think if you give him to the end of the season, they go down. That's where the big kind of question is: do you stick with him and bank that he gets you out the Premier League, back to the Premier League, or go with someone else?
Let's quickly speak to Joe, an Everton fan. Hello, Joe.
Hey lads, you're okay?
We're okay. Go on.
Good,
You have your
good.
say on your club. It's pointless us going on about it.
I don't know where to start. First of all, the club's rotten, top to bottom. Absolute rotten. Board level, right down to half the players, was just nowhere near good enough. The likes of Holgate's stats yesterday, something like 40% pass completion rate. John Joe Kenny, for like the third goal, having a shot from 30 yards. You're 2 all, you're going to be under pressure. Keep hold of the ball. Keep hold of the ball. Lampard, I'm 50-50 on it. I don't get some of his selections. I just think they're insane. It's different selections every game. It's like he's a bit too, I want to attack, I want to play this kind of football. You can't play that kind of football when you're in this situation. I know what you're saying about Allardyce. We wouldn't be anywhere. If we did get someone like Allardyce, we wouldn't be where we are now. But I don't know if half the fans would default because the football's horrible. But then you're not going to be in this situation. It's just a horrible.
What do you do if you're in the boardroom, Joe? You got the casting vote. Sack him, get Big Sam in, or stay with him. What are you doing? What are you doing, Joe? Joe, I've got 2 phones here. I've got one with Big Sam on the other end and one with Frank on it. Who do you want me to speak to?
You're going to have to speak to both, aren't you?
Stick with Frank.
Who do you want to stay with?
I'll stay with Frank.
You sticking with Frank Lampard. Okay, if he takes you down, will you stick with him next season?
Yeah, we'll stick with him next season on the back of what he's done at Derby.
What, failed to get him out of the Championship?
Yeah, but he got close to it.
Yeah, but look at the team he had.
I know. I think if we do go down, we're going to lose a lot of the players. I mean, some of them like Calvert-Lewin, I'm not as big a fan, I'll be honest with you.
But Pickford's going to have to go, though, isn't he?
He had a good half season last season. After Christmas, he was woeful.
Yeah.
He's too worried about throwing his heels on and his dresses and stuff like that. He shouldn't be talking about it going into photo shoots when during the season. That should all be done. Let him do that in close season or whenever he wants to do it, but not while you're in this kind of situation.
Okay.
And that's the mentality of the club at the minute.
Okay, you'll stay with him. There you go. Joe, the Everton fan, would stay with Frank Lampard.
It's a tough one.
If they do go down, Pickford's got to leave, right? You can't go to the World Cup playing Championship football.
Yeah, a fair few of them. Although that's probably the one. That's probably the one position though where I'd go. Okay.
Oh, would you?
Yeah, really, because do you know what I mean? It's the goalkeeper's position. I get it. It's ideal to play in the Premier League, but do you know what I mean? It's one of them where
England goalie at the World Cup can play Championship football, can he?
Yeah.
Can he?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
But he will want to leave.
Yeah. 03717223344.